We. This is an old one that's been on my computer for a while. So I was like, I'll look at it because, I lived in Oklahoma for like 5 years. So.
I grew up in Oklahoma. This happened when I was about 10, and my brother was 12. We were playing out in our front yard one afternoon when our neighbor called us over. He lived one house away, and we hadn't interacted with him before. Maybe just saying hello if we passed by when he happened to be outside. I've always been a really shy kid, so I stayed back while my brother went up and asked what he wanted. He explained that he was planning on going out of town within the next few days, and he wanted us to take care of his pool while he was gone. He said that summers were too hot for kids not to be swimming. My brother agreed, and we were told to come over in 2 days.
Wait, how old are they?
On top of being shy, I was also very paranoid, and I had this weird feeling about our neighbor. This proposal came out of nowhere. I told my brother.
Well, yeah, that makes no sense. Hey, I'm going out of town. Can you take care of my pool? Like, I've house sit for people. Like, because I'm sitting for their house. So, hey, can you, and I don't even have to stay there. They're like, hey, you can stay here or you can just come back and, periodically check on or something like that. But he like, check on my pool because, it's summertime and boys shouldn't be not swimming because it's hot out here. Like, I feel like you're trying to get my clothes off. You're trying to look at my goodies.
You can go if you want.
You gotta pay for my
but count me out. I guess my mom saw us talking to him and came outside and asked what he wanted. We explained his story. No, you two aren't going over there by yourselves. We don't even know that man. 2 days later, we still see his car in the driveway and lights on inside. Something about him bothered me. I told my parents that he never left for his vacation, so he must have been lying to us for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
They just sort of dismissed me and said that he probably just canceled his plans. Over the summer, I kept noticing him mowing the lawn 2 or 3 times a week. He never wore a shirt.
Damn.
He just went up and down his yard for hours. Once again, I would tell my parents how weird I thought he was.
I don't like doing that once a week.
But they just kept brushing me off. A few more months went by, and school was back in session by now. I noticed him sitting outside his front porch every day the school bus drove by, and he would just watch us all get off with this blank, unmoving expression. When someone is staring daggers at you like that, it makes you feel uncomfortable. Eventually, my parents decided to install a pool of our own. We had been asking for one for several years. They had to remove a large portion of our fence to get equipment into our backyard. It was one of those above-ground pools you had to anchor, but the ground here can be very rocky, and it took much longer to dig than expected. With the fence gone, our weird neighbor could now see directly into our backyard. I sometimes saw him watching from one of his windows.
Oh, boy.
By the time the pool was completed, it was warm enough to go swimming. I headed outside in my swimsuit, with my clothes over the top. I immediately saw our neighbor staring at me, and decided to swim with my clothes on instead. Over time, I picked up on something. My neighbor wouldn't watch my brother and his friends. Only me. The fence was eventually rebuilt, which I was glad. One day I was happily swimming in our
This is crazy. Like, this dude is bold as hell. Like, to me, when they say they see him, he's like let his blinds up. It's not even like just looking, through the blinds or something, or just have them just open enough where you can see out, but no one can see it. I feel like this motherfucker just open the blind, just like he don't give a shit, because he said not only he saw it, the other kids saw it too. So this dude don't care. I mean, he already offered, hey, won't you come over my house and, watch my pool, and you can come swim in it too while I'm gone. And then he doesn't leave. Like, I guess he thought maybe he was inviting them to come over to swim in, and they would just come over while he was still there.
backyard when my dad comes up to me. Hey, son, I need to talk to you for a second. I get out and I sit with him. Son, I have to say that I'm sorry. Your mom and I get really busy, and sometimes we just forget to listen. And that's not right. I'm glad you trusted your instincts.
Oh,
It turns out our neighbor was a very bad man.
oh.
He didn't go into too much detail
Well,
since
at
I was
least
so
nothing
young,
happened.
but on the school bus,
Well, with him.
some of the kids were talking. Our creepy neighbor had invited another girl from down the street to come swim in his pool.
Oh, wow, this dude didn't care.
He
That
brought
boy
her
or
inside
girl.
his house and started taking photos of her in her swimsuit, and then let her outside and told her that she needed sunscreen and would apply it for her. You get the idea. The girl's older sister came looking for her. She knew that her sister had gone inside, but he slammed the door in her face. So she ran home to tell her parents.
Oh,
The
wow.
police were called, and he was arrested. His computer was filled with photos of children from around the area. Pictures of me could have been on it.
Like, he didn't say the
They
word.
also found an alarming
how
amount
YouTube
of
is.
CP. What still
He said
bothers me to
CP.
this day is that his wife stayed by his side. Mind you, they had children who were toddlers at the time.
Oh, wow.
He was convicted, but has since been released and is now back with his family. We eventually moved away for a different
Why?
reason, but I can't imagine ever having to look at that man ever again.
Yeah, it almost was you. If you weren't a paranoid kid, well, at least it probably would have been your
This
other
story
sibling.
happened in the summer of 2011. For some background, I live in Midwest Oklahoma. My girlfriend Angela and I were renting a 4-bedroom house
Wait a
at the
minute.
time.
Oklahoma in the Midwest. Like I said, I lived in Oklahoma for 5 years, and because I live in the Midwest, I live in Chicago, well, just outside Chicago, and I know the Midwest is like Illinois, Ohio. I think Missouri is part of the Midwest. Indiana, Michigan, Iowa. I don't know if Tennessee and Kentucky are considered the Midwest. Wisconsin, Minneapolis, considered part of the Midwest. I thought it was stuff that was more so kind of in proximity of the Great Lakes. Like a lot of those kind of borders of the Great Lakes, except Missouri, obviously. But I don't know, it's Oklahoma, because then you had to say, well, Nebraska, Kansas, Arkansas would be part of the Midwest. I don't know.
We were home one night, chilling on the couch. At some point, we both fell asleep, and I began dreaming. We were walking around our neighborhood when we saw a man trying to break into a car. He was hitting the car window with a hammer. The noise was very loud, and he wasn't trying to be discreet. I wanted to intervene, but my girlfriend held me back and then whispered into my ear, "Someone is outside our door. You need to wake up." I suddenly woke up and heard a loud noise, just like the one in my dream. My heart was pounding. I looked out the window that overlooked the front doorstep, and I saw a figure holding what looked like a hammer.
I had something like this. Well, I've had this actually happen a few times with me where I was asleep and I heard knocking, but I was dreaming, and it was like in my dream I heard the knocking, and then I remember, because some of my dreams are very what's the word, like is it lucid? Well, where I know what's going on in a dream, and I know I'm dreaming, and it's like I heard the knocking, and it was getting more intense. And I was talking to somebody in the dream. I was like, hold on a second, let me get the door. And I would like turn around and walk out, then I would wake up. It's like, and that's happened like quite a few times in like dreaming, or I'll hear like my alarm go off, and I was like, oh, I gotta go work, and I wake up and like, oh, my alarm's going off, or I hear like loud noises, like the guy cutting the grass next door or something like that. I'm like, ah, damn, he cutting the grass, and I went out like, and I just wake up.
I panicked and woke up my girlfriend. When she saw what was going on, she screamed. The intruder turned his attention to the window and managed to break it.
Oh, well, he just kept doing it, huh?
Luckily for me, I always had my gun locked and loaded.
Oh, I was like, does he have a gun?
The intruder was about to make his way inside when I confronted him, aiming the gun directly at his head. I shouted at the man, "You make one more move, and they'll be scraping your brains off my porch." I didn't say those exact words, because I was absolutely scared out of my mind, but I did convey that I would end his life if he tried coming inside.
The dude, Bo, here,
The
the
figure backed
scream,
away
he
with
just
his
kept
hands
coming
up,
in.
then ran off into the darkness. I called the police right after and filed a report. We never heard anything back from them, of course. I couldn't give an accurate description, and the man took his hammer with him. He also didn't cut himself when he smashed the window, so we'll give him credit for being properly dressed for the occasion. But I'm glad I woke up in time. It's amazing how a simple dream can save your life.
Because he didn't give a shit. He heard the scream, he just kept breaking the window, and they was trying to come in. And one reason he
This
stopped
happened
because
in
you had
March
a
of
gun.
this year. My friends and I decided to go to this abandoned
Reminds me, I need to buy a
campsite
gun.
located in the eastern Oklahoma countryside.
Keep saying I'm gonna do that.
I had been there the year before. The property was supposedly haunted. This is not a paranormal story. I'm just telling you the reason that we wanted to check it out. There were 5 of us all together: Tyler, Jordan, Abigail, Angela, and myself. We decided to enhance the experience by bringing alcohol and weed. We had 2 bottles of
Enhance the
Henry
experience.
and 9 pre-rolled joints. We arrived
That'll
around
definitely enhance it
11:30,
already.
so it was dark by then. We brought along flashlights and gloves, so we were ready to go exploring. But about 15 minutes in, Angela and Abigail both wanted to go back because they were complaining about it being boring. But the rest of us had put too much into planning this trip, so we had to convince them to keep going. This required opening up one of the bottles of Henry. I personally don't like the taste of alcohol, but I decided that I would be doing some drinking
You
that
said
night.
Henry?
I also fired up a joint.
Does he
One
mean
thing about me,
Hennessy
though,
or something
is that
called
when I'm
Henry?
drunk and high at the same time, I tend to get very paranoid. It obviously didn't help that we
He's
were
one of
2 miles
those.
deep into the woods. Yeah, I wasn't making the best choices that night. After a while, the paranoia began to kick in. I started hearing footsteps
Why would you
disturbing
do
the
that?
leaves behind us.
If you know that getting drunk and high makes you paranoid, why would you do that in the woods with a bunch of your friends? How come every time I start recording, my sinuses start draining back in my throat? Like, why would you do that? It's like when I drink, like I know, okay, where's my limit? I don't want to get to this point because I'm gonna be sloppy drunk and I'm gonna need to be carried out. So I know, or like I've tested it, so I know where that point is. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna stop here. Rather than going here, I'm gonna stop here. So that way I'm fine. Like if you know that you get paranoid when you get high and drunk, then just choose one. It's like I said, oh, okay, I know that my limit it greatly increases if I mix alcohol, if I mix clear and dark. So like tonight I'm on clear, tonight I'm on brown, or I'll be like, you know what, I can have 2 drinks minimum. If I decide to mix, I can do a clear one and a dark one, and that's it. Like, don't, like you, if you know this, especially out in the woods. Because I remember there've been a few times like, in Oklahoma. I went with my cousin who moved out there with me. Well, he moved after like a few years after I had already been there, and he moved in with me, and went to a friend of his house, and they were deep in the woods. Cause I was driving. It was like one of those roads was just a one lane narrow road, dirt road, and I'm just like, I ain't been on a road like that since I lived in Mississippi. And I was like driving. I was like, yeah, we in Oklahoma too. I was like, I don't know about this. I ain't trying to get lynched or dragged behind a truck, dragging a pickup truck. I ain't said that was going to necessarily happen, but this is Oklahoma. All right. It's not out of realm of possibility. But it was cool. I went down there. The people were nice. And we was at like some older people house. They were in their late 50s, early 60s. But my cousin was friends with their granddaughter, she was like our age. So, I think she was slightly younger than us, I think, because we were in our mid-20s. I think she was like 22, if I remember, 21. I know she was able to drink. I think we were like 25 or something like that. 24, 25. And deep in the woods. Had a good time. It was just pitch black out there. Had they had a one light on their property, and then it was like one light by the road, which I was like, oh, they got some of these roads. This road back here got night. They got the street lights, even though they technically don't have a street. It was like just a dirt road. But yeah, going back there, I was like, you know what? I've never been here before. I don't know these people. I'm not gonna drink as much, which I didn't. I had, because I brought my own liquor, and I've been kind of making my own drinks. And I think I had 2 drinks, my own liquor, and then they had some beers, which I was okay. Well, they were canned beers. I was like, not canned beers. They were like they bottled beers. So I was like, okay, I ain't really worried about them. Ain't nothing in it. I can just pop it open. It's still sealed, so I wasn't worried about that. But I mean, it was fine. They had actually a nice house. You could tell they were country folks. So it's just like you gotta know your surroundings. You gotta be careful. You might have to what's the word, like abstain from night. If you one of those people that get sloppy drunk, and you in an unfamiliar environment or around people you don't really know that well, maybe don't get sloppy drunk, or don't get so high that you don't know where the fuck you at. Like this individual.
I was convinced enough to yell out, "Hey, is anyone there?" Again, this probably wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, I was like, that's your ass right
because
there.
It freaked out Abigail and Angela. Tyler even asked me, "Dude, what are you going on about?" Look, I know I'm kind of fucked up right now, but I'm hearing someone following us. It's probably just an animal, dumbass. How stoned are you?
That's not good either.
We kept going, but I continued to hear what I thought were footsteps.
Because I'm like, it's probably just an animal, dumbass. I'm like, where is this wood? What's this wooded area? Is this just a forest preserve? Because, I mean, if it's like a forest preserve and you like in a city, that'd be one thing. Like, it's a forest preserve not that far from me, where it's a big wooded area, but all around it is like, suburban area. So, like, I ain't really worried about that place. But if you in like a place where it's miles and miles of woods, you're like, oh, I think I hear something like it's following us. One thing, do you have bears? Do you have mountain lions where you live at? If you have any of those animals, it could not be a person. It could be one of those things in the dark stalking you. He's like, oh, it's probably just an animal. Like, I mean, he's probably not thinking it's stalking them, but just some animals walking around like a deer or something. Like, You walking down the wood. I'm assuming they have flashlights or something. Or maybe it's enough moonlight where they can see. But that's stupid. Or it's an animal. Like, because even up here in Chicago, there's like, well, I guess further south, people said they've seen bears and stuff like that. So, and apparently mountain lions have been migrating like further south from I guess Canada or something because of the wildfires. So they've been migrating. So I saw something like a week ago. It was a mountain lion got hit by a car in Illinois, like a little bit further north than where I'm at. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like really? Because I'm thinking, oh, we safe out here. I ain't got to worry about, going out to my car and a fucking mountain lion. Even, where I'm at, no mountain lion will be here, but a bear would definitely come around. But your friend is stupid.
It's behind us. The thought of it being an animal didn't make me feel any better.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
I've never seen a black bear in the wild, but I was pretty sure they were native to this area of Oklahoma. We got to
that's
the
right. It's
campsite soon
Oklahoma, yeah.
after. We sat at a wooden table to rest after walking 5 miles in the dark. It was around 2:50 a.m. at this point, and we decided to start partying. Let's stop here for a moment and take stock of the situation. A bunch of young adults smoking and drinking in the dead of night on a deserted campground in the middle of the vast Oklahoma forest. There were several rumors as to why this place had shut down. Some say that one of the camp counselors lost his mind and murdered several children.
I wonder where they get that story from.
Of course, there is no evidence that this actually ever happened. My guess is this place shut down because of financial reasons.
I'm pretty
it was
sure
now
that's
just
what
a
it was.
collection of abandoned cabins and a rec hall with a caved-in roof. We were definitely being loud as hell. When I drink, the alcohol runs right through me, so I have to relieve myself multiple times. I told the gang that I had to piss and went to go find a tree. I decided to walk further away from the group until they were out of sight.
Yeah,
I wanted to avoid any pranks they would pull on me while I was doing my business. When I was midstream, I heard a twig snap about 15 feet behind me.
Oh, shit.
I didn't think it was one of my friends.
You just jumped up
the
the tree.
noise was in the opposite direction they were in. I pulled out my phone, turned on the flashlight, and nearly shat my pants at what I saw. Standing about 15 feet away,
It's a mountain lion.
I saw 4 hooded figures among the trees.
Oh shit! This
I zipped up my damn pants before my stream was even finished
worse.
and
I
started running
guess.
back
I don't
toward
know.
the group. Guys, we need to leave here now.
4 hooded
We aren't
figures.
alone out here. They must have thought I was pranking them until they saw that I was running. They all got up and started sprinting. I heard more footsteps behind us and all around us. I genuinely thought that I was about to die.
You know what? I'll give it to his friends. When I wonder what their race is, because I can only speak for myself. I know, black people. When we see somebody run, we just start running with them, like in the same direction they're going. Because even if we don't see what they're running from, we will start running. I've done that a number of times where I didn't even see what this person ran from. This person just ran past us and we just start running. And then until they stop, we're like, what you running from? I remember once one dude, he was running from the police. I didn't see a police car. I don't know how far away they were. This dude ran past us and we looked, didn't see anything, and we just started like running. Luckily, we weren't running that fast. We were kind of like just jogging, but we were trying to keep close to him. And we like stopped, and we was like, what's that? We didn't say hey, talk to him because we didn't stop right with him. We was like, what's this dude running from? Man, we saw 2 police hop a fence. One of them was like running around. I guess he couldn't hop it. He ran like around the fence. Oh, he was like, oh shit. And they ran up, he started running again, and the police just haul ass past us. At first I thought, oh shit, they gonna think we were with him or something, even though he was the only one running. Like, why would they, think we with him? But we weren't really thinking about that. He's, oh shit, they gonna try to say something to us or have us sit down and want to check our IDs and shit. It's like we about to get guns pulled on us. Hey, but they just ran past us. Oh, that was fucking hilarious. But other times we just start running. I mean, especially you in a place you hear gunshots. Cause one time I was downtown at the Taste of Chicago with my cousin and one of his friends, and then we heard like pop pop, and we looked in the direction it was coming from, and nobody was moving. Then all of a sudden, like a wave of people started like coming towards us, but they were kind of like stopping and going, like they were running and stop, but they were kind of like looking back and kind of still jogging. And I looked at me and my cousin's friend. We looked at each other and then looked. My cousin was gone. We looked at, he was gone from the spot he was at, and we looked further. This boy was like 30 feet away, probably a little bit more than that. He was like. We ran towards him. He's like, what y'all just standing there for? I was like, cause I mean, it was the Taste of Chicago, so I was like, people pop fireworks down here. So I assumed it was fireworks, even though technically you're not supposed to pop fireworks down there. But I assumed it was fireworks because people do it all the time. But when people start running, and I saw the police run in that direction and the people running away, that's when I was like, oh, that's something else. And that's when I looked. He was like, that boy had to be. He had, like, I would say, probably about 40 yards away from me. Like, just thinking like football field turns, like probably about 40 yards. He was like, what the hell? He's like, what y'all doing? He's like, I ran. He's like, I heard those pops, and I just ran. He's like, we in Chicago, which is funny because I was like, I lived there. I mean, at the time I wasn't living there. I was living in Oklahoma. But he's like, I lived there. He's like, I didn't even run like that. He's like, you've been desensitized.
We were so deep in the woods that no one would hear us scream if we were slaughtered. None of us were thinking straight because of the recreational influence. Angela fell, and I guess no one else noticed except for me. I quickly turned to help her. Once I got her back on her feet,
and that's how you met your mother.
I couldn't tell where the rest of the group went. The moonlight was barely helping, and I didn't want to turn on my flashlight and give away our position. Angela was a mess at this point, crying and freaking out. So I had to try to calm her down and keep moving, even though I felt like I was having a panic attack myself.
Yeah.
We kept going until we saw what looked like an old shed. I devised a plan to use the shed as cover while I called the others on my phone. Once we made our way inside, we stopped hearing the footsteps, so I thought we had lost them. The shed was actually a cabin with 3 rooms and a hallway.
Damn.
Once we got to the entrance, we were bombarded by a putrid smell.
Oh,
it damn near made me throw up all the Henry I had earlier. Angela, however, couldn't hold back. And
I'm assuming he means Henny, because he keeps saying Henry. I don't know. Is that a drink that I'm not familiar with? Maybe that's a Oklahoma drink. But even when I was in Oklahoma, like I said, I don't know the race of this individual, but when I was in Oklahoma and I hung around people, even white people, because in Oklahoma I was the token black guy quite a few times, and they just drank beers like Bud Light stuff, but or maybe whiskey, but he says Henry. I keep thinking he means Henny, like Hennessy. but
commented right away.
Maybe it's something.
I tried calling Tyler and
Henry.
Jordan, but it just went straight to voicemail. I didn't have Abigail's number, and Angela couldn't help since her phone was dead. The smell was becoming unbearable, and I had a feeling I knew what it was.
Dead body.
I left
Dead
the entrance
animals.
and made my way further inside. There was nothing of interest in the first 2 rooms, but the third I arrived at was where the stench was coming from. My heart was in my throat as I opened the door.
As I opened the door,
I shined my light inside and was met with the most disturbing thing I think I've ever seen in my life. I know that a lot of you aren't going to believe me, but I'm going to tell you what I saw. At first, I was stunned when I saw a face on the floor staring up at me.
Oh shit.
It was only when I panned to my light that I realized that the head wasn't connected to anything.
Okay, decapitated
Leaning up
head.
against the wall were 2 torsos.
Fuck, it is Ed Gein's house?
There is something else that was there that I just can't bring myself to tell you. I like to think that I just imagined it, but I know it was there. I had to stay sharp if we were going to escape. I looked at the maps on my phone and saw that we were still 2 miles away from any roads. Angela was still bawling her eyes out, crying about how she didn't want to die. Honestly, I thought it was likely that we would end up dying that night. We heard the footsteps racing toward the cabin outside. I grabbed Angela and told her, "If you don't want to die, we have to run, and don't look back." I planned on running in the opposite direction of the road, while Angela made for the road. I would hide somewhere
Man, I
until
don't know
whoever
about
was following us
separating now.
passed us. Then I would eventually come out and head for the road. I took off, yelling to get their attention.
That is smart, but at the same time, that could backfire. Because if they hear, like, I mean, he did yell. He was like, hey, try to make as much noise to draw attention to himself. But I feel like that could have backfired, and they heard her run in the opposite direction, and they just chase. They're like, okay, well, we gonna split up. He said it was 4 hooded people, right? So if they decide to split up, then they could have got both of y'all, or got her. I don't know how fast she was running, especially she crying and sobbing, and I'm assuming if she was crying, her eyes are just filled with tears. It's probably not easy to see. Also, y'all using moonlight, and he sounded like he don't know what a flashlight. Well, he was using his phone, and he said her phone is dead, so she couldn't turn it on anyway. It's like, I feel like this could backfire. And then he see 2 torsos in there with their heads cut off. I mean, 2 bodies with their heads cut off, and the torsos leaned up against the wall. It's like, now he did say like he's high and drunk and he gets paranoid stuff. So I'm assuming he might hallucinate when he's drunk and high. But hey, I mean, you out there in the woods in some random like log cabin, and you come across that. I mean, I'm not saying that's just like a normal thing. I wouldn't know, but that'd probably be the place that where you would come across some shit like that.
I should mention that I'm in pretty good shape, since I used to play sports in school, so I was capable of running long distances. Once I was far enough away, I got down low to the ground behind a tree and covered up with leaves and branches to camouflage myself. I was already wearing dark clothing, so I felt this was my best chance. My biggest fear came true when I could feel something crawling down my leg. I've had arachnophobia since I was little, and I've been bitten by spiders before. If not for
I'm
the
surprised he went in
adrenaline,
the woods.
I definitely would have freaked out and given away my hiding spot. After what felt like hours, what was probably more like 2 minutes, I could hear the footsteps running away from where I was. I still wanted to play it safe, and stayed down there for another 15 minutes before I thought it was safe enough to make a break for it. Soon I was back on my feet, heading in the direction the road was in. It was now 2:17 a.m. I tried my mom and dad's cell.
Oh, it's
Neither of them
270. I
picked
thought you
up.
said it was 250 something.
So I called the house phone. Yes, we still have those. After 2 rings, my dad picked up. He sounded pissed. I immediately told him the circumstances and about the bodies I found, and that I was separated from all my friends. While I was on the phone with him, Jordan finally noticed that I had tried to call him. So I hung up with my dad and answered Jordan's call. Dude, where the hell are you? Angela and I got separated from you guys. I told her to run toward the road, while I distracted whoever was chasing us. See if you can find her there. I'm heading that way right now, so I'll be there soon.
I hope Angela didn't get got.
Okay, man. Watch your ass. I ended up getting there before the rest of the group. Angela came out from her hiding place. She told me that she thought I was a goner for sure. I sent Jordan our location, and they showed up about 5 minutes later. We were all relieved to see that everyone was okay. Angela and Jordan hugged each other for about 2 minutes.
That must be crazy. He said he called his dad. He's on the phone with him. Told his dad that he saw what had happened. He's being chased. He saw the dead bodies. And then his friend starts calling him who he tried to call previously. And like, hey, let me call you back. My friend's calling. I'll be like, you just told me you found 2 decapitated bodies in the woods, in a wood cabin, and that people are chasing you. Like, no. Like, what? Unless I'm about to call the police or something. But it's like, let me call you back. Great. Hey guys, that's lovely and everything, but we really should get out of here. Once we were back in the car, I told them about what I saw in the cabin. They asked me why I hadn't called the cops yet. I don't know. Maybe it had something to do with being chased through the fucking woods. Well, you should definitely call the cops now. I called
the police and gave them an approximate location of where I found
the
bodies.
If they were standing there hugging for 2 minutes.
But I never heard back from them. I guess whoever was out there must have hidden or destroyed the evidence. I still have reoccurring nightmares about what I saw in those woods.
Because we were running for 2 minutes. I'm like, we were running.
Hey everyone,
like, it's been 2 minutes.
This is your Uncle Unit. Thank you so much for checking out my video. Always a reason
to be afraid. Oh. Change the music. Oh wow, that stayed at 30 frames a second. But yeah, like, if they stand up there hugging for like, let's put it here. If they stand up there hugging for 2 minutes, like, you could have called the police then. Like, you fucking up, bro. But yeah, I never had any experience like that. I mean, I've talked about like that little paranormal experience, I guess I have, but at the same time, I always said the disclaimer was I hadn't slept in like 3 days, so I was like, just off the bat there, listen. But yeah, I never. I mean, all the time I went in the woods, like I said with that story where we went to those people's houses, but I never went like just in some random woods looking for a clearing where we just hung out. You know, that never happened. But in Oklahoma anyway. But yeah, especially now, because I'm too out of shape. Like, I don't know, being scared, that'll put a fire under your ass. You be scared and be running. Because even when I was in better shape, especially better running shape, like, I could run 3 or 4 times further if I was scared. And I could run pretty far when I'm not scared. So, but yeah. But anyway, hope y'all enjoyed my reaction. And if you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. Make sure to subscribe when you're new here. Hit that bell if you want to be notified when I upload videos. Comment down below. Share this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.